Hello, dear ones. What does the word authority mean to you? It's kind of a big word, and these days it's very much up in the air in the world. Like who is the authority? And I want to ask you to just consider this and maybe put it in the comments below. Who is your trusted authority? Can mean many things. It could mean, I listen to the news and that's my authority. I believe them, I trust them, I take what they say for being true as being true. Or it could be maybe a friend you have who does a lot of research and you trust your friend. So that's kind of your trusted authority. Could be the government. You may be watching things from the government online, on YouTube, in the news, and you say, "No, that's my authority. I give my authority to them, and I trust them." I'm sure there can be many other ones, and you may already have one that is your trusted authority, and you probably know where I'm going to go with this, but that's okay. I think you know me by now if you have been watching my videos. But before I go there, let's just say that, okay, I trust this YouTube channel, I trust this person, that they're my trusted authorities, and what they say, I believe, and I take that to be my own, right? That's very, very common. And back in the days, that nobody questioned that. It's like, well, I heard it on the radio. I read it in a newspaper. And, if it's not true, if what you're saying is true, I'm sure it would be in the papers or in the news, right? This is a very, very common thing that all of us grew up with. And it was very common to say, well, if it isn't true, somebody would write about it. Or if that's true, I'm sure we would hear about it in the news. So that's what we grew up with. And so that's been kind of a default authority we just fell back into. Very different today, if you can agree with that. It's very, very different today. And more people are going like, I'm not sure if that's true. There's something off. And and then there is a place like, well, where do I go then? Who can I trust? What can I trust? And that's where I want to stitch the two together. Because when you say, like, something is not right, where in the past you would just blindly say yes to it, and there was nothing in your body or in your being, in your nervous system, in your heart, there was nothing that would even consider questioning it, that questioning it, because this is how it was just accepted. Now when you go, that sounds a little weird, or can that be true? And as you know, they say this and then they say the exact opposite with equal amount of conviction. So here there's now two opposing authorities that have complete opposite information. And so maybe you're already going over here like, well, that doesn't feel right, or it doesn't sound right. Or if you're over here, you go, that doesn't sound right. So again, I want to ask you to just take a step back so you can see this and that, yet they're opposite all the time, opposite, equal backup, equal authority behind it, right? Equal conviction and proof. So take a step back and then you look at these two. And now I want to just invite you to just go in here and say, that's weird, because it's happening all the time in almost everything that's showing up, right? And it's going to stitch back into my YouTube from yesterday, which is moving from the law to love. And that is, of course, when we, instead of just following those outer authorities as the law, as they know better than I, now we are stepping into the love, the heart, that's beginning to stir up a little bit, that's beginning to talk to us in a way that we haven't experienced before. Or maybe it's just us who are beginning to listen to it in a way we haven't done before. It's probably more the latter. But this one is getting louder and louder. And if you're not hearing it yet, I would, gosh, what I want to invite you to pay more attention to it and not just blindly follow one or the other, or blindly know, I've already taken a position, I've already decided that this is a lie and this is the truth. But then it's not in here, then it is still up here where you are in a position of duality, instead of going in deeper and feeling what resonates with you. So you can apply it to, if it feels right here, not right there, instead of doing it from just habit or like, well, I trust them. I can't imagine that these people would lie to me. So then you just blindly trust it from here, but take either side and just feel here. See if you can bypass this a little bit. I'm not cutting off your head or anything. I'm just saying, can you just put it aside so you can start practice more listening and sensing into a deeper experience than the mind. And then you can just start noticing, what is going on in here. Does it resonate with what you were convinced of? Or can you notice like, oh, maybe that's a little off too. That can't be totally right, right? Or the other side, or the fifth or the 100th side. This is your true trusted authority. Only that one. It's not necessarily separate from your mind. They can work in unison, and that's a really good teamwork. But for most people, they have only been functioning from up here, which we could say is the law. This is how it is, and this is right and wrong, and good and bad, and up and down, right? That is the duality in the mind of the matrix that's cut off from your beautiful wisdom in your heart, the place that knows. So may I invite you, if this is not already your truth, to just put those two sides to the side and just focus in here. And I specifically want to invite you to take that step back to notice how it is possible that these two sides keep colliding. It can be on the same issues, it can be on different issues. Like on this issue, they may agree. On that issue, they're right, they're wrong. On this issue, they're right and they're wrong, or claim to be right and wrong. It's constant, and it is the duality that is really amping up. I have talked about this, I think yesterday and maybe the day before specifically, to really invite you to take that step back and then go in here and see what you notice here. What do you experience here when you look at the world right now? What we can do right now, just look at the crazy world that's getting more and more chaotic. And when you step back without trying to figure it out or figuring out who's right and wrong or taking sides, just leave that. You can leave it for a moment, or you can leave it forever. Because once you get out here, it's too crazy to go back and engage again. But here, when you look at the world, what do you feel here? You might be terrified. You might be terrified. Many people are, and probably for a good reason, because it's mad out there. There's no safety, there's no security, there's nothing to stand on. Everything is changing all the time. So feeling terrified is probably a very normal, natural response. So I want to invite you to see if you can stay with that feeling of terror, or it may be anger, or it may be disgust, fear, grief. I bet you if you stop engaging in this stuff out here as your authority, right? This authority is right and this authority is wrong, and I'm afraid of that authority, right? So you are giving your authority to something outside of yourself, either for good or for evil. It is putting your authority outside of yourself. So the question, who is your trusted authority? Could be a very deep question that could engage in some deep introspection. And why do you give your authority to these people or to these people? Or why do you fear this authority? Because you are giving your power to them, that they have power over you for something bad to happen, and these have power over you for something good to happen, or vice versa, depending on what kind of authority you put out there. So we come back to these feelings, these terrified feelings, angry feelings, sad feelings. Now you can use your authority to put that around these feelings so they can be healed, so they can be integrated, embraced, listened to. They will not heal by putting your authority out there. They will heal and change and shift and grow and expand by you bringing your loving authority in your heart, by bringing that to it in a loving way, in a kind way, in a curious, open-hearted way where you go like, wow, I'm terrified. And I was hoping to, if I would fight that side and, and believe in that side, that would help with my fear, with my terror. But it's not working because it keeps changing and it keeps getting worse in one way or another, right? So I can understand that. We do that. It's almost like going back to in childhood, we need somebody to be good, even though our parents, maybe one was good and one was bad, or they were whatever. It's like we need something good to believe in, to hold on to. And rightly so. I am absolutely not criticizing that in any way. I feel that in myself. Even though I can see what's going on, I can still feel inside of me that somehow I want one side or the other to be good. So it's natural in us. So let that be there. Don't think it's going to be resolved out there, because it cannot. But the more of us who take that energy, that terror, that grief, whatever it is, take that back. And then we learn to be present with it so it can heal, so it can relax, so it can start feeling more safe with us, with you and with me. These feelings need our authority, our divine authority to heal with love. They don't need somebody out there, but because we have been so programmed and misguided and cut off from our own true authority, and we have put it out there, there's still parts of us that believe that the deeper change will happen out there. If I look at most of the people who are leaders and who are so-called authorities, they seem incredibly immature. They live they're definitely part of the old paradigm of the matrix, of duality, right, wrong, power over. It is not the new earth that we are longing for. That lives in here, and only you and I can make ourselves available for that new earth, starting with inhabiting it ourselves by bringing all these parts that are terrified of what's going on out there. We need to start bringing them home so that we can start feeling what it feels like to feel safe and secure inside of us. Once we do that, then we can start moving out and maybe letting that security or that new energy that's now, coming on board, coming online. Now we can start moving into the world and let that guide us, let that inform us what it wants to do as you and I. And again, that's going to look very different for everyone. It could just be helping your neighbor with something. And it could be, starting something big where you want to bring people together. Anything in between does not matter, but you will know what's true for you. And you're not going to compare yourself with others. That's a tendency too. I've done that too. I'm a little YouTube channel and I feel that the message that comes through is very valuable and very important. But I'm just little Pernilla, so I'm just here to reach those of you who resonate with that. And it will be the same for you and you and you and you. We just bring it to, it could just, you might start volunteering at the local shelter, and just bring that love there because it feels safe, it makes you happy. Go do that. Do something that makes you feel connected to yourself, that you are your own true authority now. And that inner authority shows up as something that deeply resonates with you. That's something that you've been longing for, to be, to experience, to express. Now you're in your own authority and you can trust that. That is probably the only thing we can trust. And that's why when we have all this information we're being bombarded with, some of there's probably truth in a lot of it. And there's no truth in also a lot of it. So instead of trying to figure it out here, use this truth meter to tell you if you can trust it, if this outer authority is trustworthy. You will feel something in here that goes, that's weird. So maybe that's true. It probably is. Or you might feel an expansion, a yes, like that resonates with my heart. Or none of them give you that feeling. And that's very important also. Maybe it's all just a bunch of hooey out there. I must admit, to me, it looks like some theatrical play where the players are really good because they're very believable. Sometimes it also feels like a who did it? These show where there's somebody got murdered and then you have to figure out who did it, right? And you think, oh, it's them. Like, oh, they're bad. Like, oh no, they're good. Oh, it must be them because this and this and this. And it's kind of a fun thing, right? To figure out who did it. Well, that's what I see is going on outside now, where we keep thinking, oh, they did it, or they're good. Oh, no, they're good. No, they can't be good when they say that, right? Back and forth, flip, flop. So the more we can see that as, I'm not telling you, you need to see it the way I do, but for me, seeing it as a theatrical show with amazing actors. Seriously, there are many of them, not all, many of them are really, really good. So now you can start feeling in here. I think I really want to drive that home today, that your trusted authority is that guiding system, your intuition or your soul connection, whatever, however it shows up for you. Learn that language. Learn it so you know, ah, I know this feeling here. That's when it's a yes for me. And then you know the other one too, right? And like I often talk about, it's like then there is a place where you may not know yet. It's not clear yet. Just wait. Don't force yourself to know something you don't know yet. It will come, but just wait and give yourself some space. Maybe there's some deepening that needs to happen. Maybe there's some pieces of the puzzle out there that need to, fall in place first. But just wait then. But if I may invite you to do something, today after the call right now, just look at some of the things that are going on in the world and let this one tell you what's true, not this one. Most of us have read and heard so many things that we have processed through the mind, not through the heart. So it may be hard to let go of that. If you're really convinced that somebody is really, really bad and somebody is really, really good or whatever in between, if you're so convinced that you want to take a position about it, it's right in here. It's right in here, and that's not the answer. So if you can drop that, then just let yourself feel whatever shows up here. And maybe it is disgust. Maybe you're disgusted by a person, a behavior, a situation. Stay with that. Stay with that. Don't drop that and go back here. See, I'm right. No, stay with that and let it develop, because there's a lot more behind it that you may not be aware of, that might be part of you putting your authority out there and already having decided what is right and what is wrong. Maybe none of it is. Maybe none of it is. What would that be like? Okay, I would love for you to share in the comments how this lands for you. All your comments are always welcomed, and I think I always answer all of them, unless I miss one here and there. But I love it, and it keeps my channel alive. It invites more people to see it. The more likes, the more comments, the more shares, the more subscriptions. That adds to the algorithm thing, whatever that is, and then it can go out further and reach more people. So if this resonates, please do the things like share, comment, subscribe, and stay in that energy here.